When somebody says, let's go get a cup of coffee, they're not asking for you to get caffeinated. If I say, hey, let's go get something to eat, it might be just because I'm hungry. But when someone says, let's go get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, what they're actually saying is, I want to share life with you. I want to have a conversation with you. Copa Vida literally means cup of life. And the reason we named that is because of two things. One is because Christ's cup of life to us. And the other reason is because it's a play on a Costa Rican phrase, pura vida. I reached out to a friend of mine who lived in Costa Rica. We ended up going to meet Roberto Naranjo, who was the general manager at that time of a co-op called Copedota. He started talking about coffee in a way where it was intertwining his faith and his family, and it wasn't just a job. It was a passion for him to see this valley become something great through coffee. So here we are on the top of a mountain, and we're sitting there, and he says, you know, God gave this valley to my ancestors. And so how dare I ruin this valley environmentally and not leave it pristine for my next generation? We have to take good care of this. We are good stewards. In designing the coffee shop, when we do that with community in mind, it means more than just having a coffee shop with doors open and letting people in. You have to create a space where people feel welcome. Our values are welcoming, approachable, authentic and transparent, and community-minded. In our design, we have seats at different height levels. We have seats that are ideal for students with a laptop. We have seats that are ideal for an entrepreneur to have a meeting with a client. We're trying to make space for everybody, not just one prototype of a person. So our traditional barista bar was built with the counters low, with low profile equipment so that we can make eye contact over the bar with our customers. The name of our espresso is Grace. Grace has 3 levels of grace. We call it grace because it takes God's grace for the coffee to taste the way it is. Coffee is not an artificial product, it's a natural product. In other words, without God's grace, the terroir, the weather, the elevation, the land that it sits on, the coffee doesn't taste the way it tastes. Second level of grace is the grace of the farmer, the roaster, the barista to make and enhance what's in that fruit and that seed into tasting it the way it does when it comes to your cup. And then the third grace is the grace of the drinker. We're asking for grace from the drinker because it's an agricultural product. It changes. The moisture levels will all impact the way a coffee tastes. So even going to the same farm year after year isn't going to guarantee you that your coffee is going to taste the same. The underlying meaning is that the coffee is named after my sister. Almost second year into opening up Copa Vida, and we had just started roasting. She called me one day and said, hey, Opa, I'm not feeling too good. So she went to urgent care. Urgent care said there's something wrong, sent her to emergency. Emergency sent her to oncology, and within 2 days they said, hey, we have some bad news. It's a form of cancer similar to leukemia, and it's you're in very, very late stages. We have to get super aggressive with your treatment, and even then the chances are pretty slim, or your other option is to not take the treatment and let it play out. She chose the latter. Do I wish she was still around and giving me a hard time and, you know, being an aunt to my children and leading them the wrong way and us arguing about stuff? Absolutely. I wish she was here for that. But I found a lot of peace. Every morning I have a cup of cortado or my espresso drink at the shop. I'm literally having coffee with my sister is the way I think about it. As people who work at Copa Vida, what I believe is good and beautiful is the energy, the passion, the commitment we put into what we make. I love that our God is a creator God. I love that there's passion and commitment in what he has done. There's a part in the Genesis where he talks about after he's finished his creation work, he says he steps back and he enjoys it. That's an act of a creator, that's an act of an artist, that's an act of a craftsman. You have to do things in such a way that you can step back, enjoy it, and say, it is good.